Do you know what a noun is, or a verb? Do you know how they work together to create sentences? These are not just words, they're like the ingredients in your favorite cake recipe. Without them, we wouldn't be able to tell stories, ask questions, or even say hello. Just like how flour and sugar come together to make a cake, nouns and verbs come together to make sentences. So are you ready to dive into the world of nouns and verbs? Let's explore these exciting parts of speech together. Imagine you are in a park. What do you see? Trees, birds, kids playing? These are all examples of nouns. Now let's dive a little deeper. A noun in the simplest terms is a word that represents a person, place, thing, or idea. That's right, it's as simple as that. So when we talk about trees, birds, and kids playing, we're talking about nouns. Let's think about it. Your best friend, your favorite superhero, your pet, your school, the park where you play, the ice cream you love, your happiest memory. All of these are nouns. They are names for people, places, things, and ideas. And guess what? Nouns can also be things you can't touch or see, like love, bravery, or dreams. These are called abstract nouns. They represent ideas or feelings. I bet you can find tons of nouns around you right now. Look around. Your desk, your toy, your book, your snack. These are all nouns. But remember, nouns don't always have to be single words. They can also be groups of words acting like a single idea, like New York City or chocolate chip cookie. So, let's play a little game. Can you spot the nouns in your room? I bet you can. So, a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Can you think of more nouns? Now think about what those kids in the park are doing. Are they running, laughing, playing? These are all examples of verbs. Let's dive a little deeper. You see, a verb is a word that describes an action or a state of being. It's like the engine of a sentence, driving it forward with energy and movement. Just like those kids in the park, verbs are all about doing stuff. When you run, jump, sing, draw, or even think, you're doing something. And those are all verbs. They tell us what action is happening. But verbs aren't just about action. They can also describe a state of being. For example, when you say, I am happy or they are tall, the words am and are verbs. They're not actions, but they're still verbs because they tell us something about the state or condition of the person or thing we're talking about. So whether you're doing something like running or jumping, or simply being something like happy or tall, you're using a verb. And here's a cool thing about verbs. They can change depending on when the action is happening. For example, run becomes ran when the action has already happened in the past. But don't worry, we'll talk more about that in another video. For now, just remember this. Verbs are all about action and being. They make our sentences come alive with activity and emotion. So, a verb is an action or a state of being. Can you think of more verbs? Now that we know what nouns and verbs are, let's see how they work together in sentences. Imagine a stage where our noun and verb are the main characters. The noun is the star, and the verb is the action, the drama that makes the play interesting. They need each other to tell a complete story. For example, let's take the noun cat and the verb jump. If we put them together, we can create a sentence like, the cat jumps. Here, cat is our noun, the main character of our story, and jumps is our verb, the action our main character is doing. Now let's try with another set. Let's take the noun dog and the verb bark. If we put them together, we get the dog barks. Can you see how the noun and verb work together to tell a story? Just like in a play, our nouns and verbs can change roles and actions. For instance, our cat can also sleep, and our dog can run. So we can say, the cat sleeps or the dog runs. Now let's make it a bit more exciting. We can add more nouns and verbs to our story. For example, the cat jumps and the dog runs. Here we have two nouns, cat and dog, and two verbs, jumps and runs. Isn't it fun to see how our nouns and verbs work together to make our sentences more interesting and full of action? Now it's your turn. Think about the nouns and verbs we discussed earlier. Can you create a sentence using them? Maybe you want to tell a story about a bird that sings or a fish that swims. The possibilities are endless. Remember, the noun is the star of your sentence, and the verb is the action that makes your sentence exciting. So keep practicing, and soon you'll be a master at creating sentences with nouns and verbs. See how nouns and verbs work together to make sentences? We've learned a lot about nouns and verbs today, haven't we? Let's take a moment to look back at what we've discovered. First, we found out about nouns. They are like the building blocks of our sentences. Nouns can be people, like a teacher, a firefighter, or even a superhero. They can also be places, like a park, a city, or a magical kingdom. But that's not all. Nouns can also be things, like a toy, a book, or a star. And let's not forget, nouns can even be ideas, like love, bravery, or curiosity. Then we ventured into the world of verbs. Verbs are the action heroes of our sentences. They tell us what someone or something is doing. So if you're laughing, running, or dreaming, those are all verbs. But verbs can also describe a state of being. So if you're feeling happy, or if you are a champion, those are verbs too. And the real magic happens when we put nouns and verbs together. That's when we start creating stories, like the superhero flies or the kitten sleeps. You see, by using nouns and verbs, we can share our thoughts, our dreams, and our adventures. Remember, nouns are people, places, things, or ideas, and verbs are actions or states of being. Keep practicing and you'll be a grammar expert in no time.